All right, boys and girls. So today we're going to start our very first writing unit. And our writing unit that we're going to be doing is a memoir. So my first question to you is, what is a memoir? So a memoir tells a true personal story about somebody. So, for instance, it's very common that after presidents are done with their presidential term, they'll turn around and write a memoir, focusing in on just that event of the time period of their life where they were president, not a biography that tells about their whole life. So, I actually just read the other day that former President Obama's memoir is coming out next month. So, it will focus just on his presidency. So here's an example of some memoirs. So I have Big Mamas, City Secrets, Letting Swift River Go, When I Was Your Age, The Chalk Doll, Child Times, My Rotten Redheaded Older Brother, and Owl Moon. So have you ever read any of these before? Right? These are all memoirs. So one of the things that I notice is check out the cover. There are people on every single cover, which makes sense because a memoir focuses on your personal experiences. So today what I want you to do is start to think about what is a memoir. And by that I mean, what characteristics do you notice a memoir has? How is it written? So what did the writer do to make it a memoir? How does it make you feel? How is it organized? And then finally, what techniques does the author use? So I want you to keep these ideas in your head as we begin to read. Oops, sorry, went too far. Today we're going to read Up North in the Cabin, all right, which is a memoir by Marcia Wilson Shaw, and paintings are done by Steve Johnson. Illustrations are gorgeous. So here we go. So sit back and let's listen to Up North at the Cabin. So today we're going to read the story Up North in the Cabin. So while we're reading this, I want us to keep in mind what is a memoir. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the cover. So the title of the book is Up North at the Cabin by Marcia Wilson Shaw, and paintings are done by Steve Johnson. So when I look at this, I use this cover to kind of start to tell me a little bit what's going to happen. So I can see there's a young girl on the cover. Looks like she's sitting on a dock. So I start to think about the story, what it could be about. On the way up north to the cabin, the sunshine sits in my lap all morning. I know the way by heart. Past the big Wally statue on Lake Mill Lacs, a few more miles to the live deer park, till all the trees are birch and pine, and houses are made from logs that look like shiny pretzels. It's like she's going on vacation. Up north at the cabin, I'm a smart angler. So I'm thinking she's got a fishing pole. I'm going to guess an angler's a fisherman. I'm a smart angler. Grandpa tries pink spinners, leeches, and dragonflies, but I know what fish like. I bait my hook with peanut butter and worm sandwiches, then jig my line and wait. Grandma serves my sonnies with fried potatoes and corn on the cob. We eat at the long table on the screen porch, sitting next to one another on the same size, so we can all watch the loons dance down the sun. So it sounds like Grandma and Grandpa are there with her. Up north at the cabin, I am a great gray dolphin. The lake is my ocean. Looks like she's remembering things she did. From the dock, I dive head first, skimming over the sand that swirls behind me. Anchored to the bottom upside down, I am an acrobat in a perfect handstand. Then, rising in a sea of air bubble balloons, I float on a carpet of waves. Wow, what an image. Up north at the cabin, I am a fearless voyager guiding our canoe through the wilderness. The river spills over rocks and whispers to me, Kaunishui, Kaunishui, and rushes on to anywhere. Like a house on stilts, a bull moose stands in the shallows. His chest heaves and rumbles, mighty as a diesel engine. He shakes his great head, rocking branches of bone as he bellows a warning. Ahead to the beaver dam, the voyager commands. On the portage trail, we sling the canoe over our heads, its backbone to the sky. We trudge along, an armored beetle homeward bound. Up north at the cabin, I am a daredevil. Keep your knees bent, calls Uncle Roy. I clutch the tow rope, bobbing up and down in my yellow life vest. The motor sputters softly, waiting. My legs stiffen in the skis. Hit it, I yell. Noticing that she keeps saying, I am a. So rather than just coming out and saying, I went skiing or I went swimming, she's using I am a. So that is a type of figurative language we call metaphor. The boat roars forward and the tow line snaps tight. I leap from the water, riding the waves. Lean back, they scream. How much, I think, then smack the water like an angry northern pike. I fall 3 times. A flip, a somersault, the splits. Want to try again, they ask? Papa skims the silver water on only one ski. Yes, I shout. Up north at the cabin, I am always brave, even in the dark woods when blood thumps through my head like old Iwo Jima drums. It's said they beat for 2 full moons, like Chief Makwa's son rode to the sugar bush, but never came home. I stand and listen and think I still hear them. Up north at the cabin, we are almost ready to go. I check under my bed, take down our clothesline, pack my snorkel and fins. Then one last thing. I look all around me, at the screen porch, at the creaky branch I hear at night, at the chipmunk hole under the stoop, at the tufted island in the bed, at the spot in the sky where the North Star shines. I shut my eyes tight and fix them in my mind. So when I'm far away from summer, when frosted windows cloud the sun, I close my eyes and once again, I'm up north at the cabin. I love that ending, how she reflects back and hopes to remember her trip. All right, so boys and girls, after hearing the reading of Up North in the Cabin, I had asked you to think about a couple of things. So these are some things that we noticed that makes a memoir. A memoir is a narrative or a story that usually focuses on a significant period of time in the writer's life. So this story had the young girl going up to her cabin with, it appears to be her grandparents, and focusing in on just the special things she did while she was up there, right? The writer in the story is in the story somehow, either physically or as the narrator. He or she tells the story from his or her point of view. That's evident in the fact that we heard I am a so many different times. She was a daredevil. She was an angler, right? She was an acrobat. So everything was written from her point of view using I and me. Many memoirs are stories that include the writer's family, or someone who made a difference in the writer's life. So, for instance, you saw that grandma and grandpa were in there. Her dad was in there with water skiing. So she focused in on those special times. Now, it could be a special friend as well. If you're writing a memoir, maybe they were with you. The story makes the readers feel something, right? So she took us through a couple things. You could tell she was happy being up there. But at the one point when she was walking through the woods and recapturing like the Native American things, you could tell she was a little bit scared too in there. So that came out, a little nervous when she was about to water ski. So all those kind of feelings can come out in your memoir. Memoirs are organized so that events can unfold sequentially and naturally. By that, we mean it starts at the beginning, right? She was in the car on the way to the cabin at the beginning of the story. It didn't start with her packing up and leaving, right? So we had that. And then we had the events that she had, and then she left. So that's that sequential and natural order. The next thing is often the conclusion of the book will be a reflection on why the event is important to the writer. So one of the things I love this book did was the fact that she said, I close my eyes tight and I fix it in my mind. So when I'm far away, I remember being up north at the cabin. I can so relate to that because I love going to the beach. And one of the things that I do is every year when I know it's going to be my last time down there, I do the same thing. I close my eyes and I just want to soak every little bit in the sounds of the waves crashing, the way the sun feels hitting me, all that kind of stuff. So that way, when February comes and I'm freezing and it's dark at 4:30, I can close my eyes and be back there. All right. That's what's so important to me. All right, the next thing is the writer uses narrative techniques such as dialogue, description, reflective ending, and pacing to develop experiences or show the responses and feelings of characters and situations. So definitely we saw the description in this. Marsha Wilson Shaw did an amazing job of being so descriptive about those bubbles around her, about bending her knees. How far should I go? You have that dialogue. So all that's necessary. And finally, a memoir is a story that you tell for an audience. So sometimes we have things that happen to us that we're not willing to share, but a memoir should be something that you're willing to share with others. Okay, so this is what I need for you to do. What is your story? Now that you've heard up north in the cabin, I would like you to write about some of your favorite memories. So start by making a list of some of the special things that happened to you in your lifetime. Right? The second thing I'm going to ask you to do is choose one and write freely about it. Be sure to include who was with you, where you were, and what happened. And then finally, we're going to come back together at the end of class, and we're going to be able to share some of our memories. So I've given you the page to start to write your list. All right. And then I've given you a page where now you can start to write a little bit more detailed about it. So good luck and go ahead and get started.